What is up, YouTube? JankyYGO here. My name is Michael, and today I am playing the new Lyriluscs. I'm playing with the new Lyriluscs. Now, we don't have any new cards in our hand, but that's okay. We'll just have to, search it with our Where Art Thou. So hopefully our opponent doesn't go too crazy. We chose to go second. Oh, it's Timelords. Alright. That's okay. This deck should be able to deal with that pretty easily. So let's do this. I'm going to use Evil Thorn's effect. Inflict a little bit of damage. And we're going to summon out two of these. Alright, what are you doing? Aha, joke's on you. I don't have that card. Opponent, I am playing a fair deck. Alrighty. Where art thou? This is gonna search us out our copy of this. And then we're gonna overlay into this card right here. And we're gonna do this so that we can search another card, detach, and we're gonna search out Warbler. And I guess let's Foolish Burial. Wagtail. And we're going to use this effect, and then we're going to attempt to OTK our opponent through all this. And I'll show you how we're going to do that. So, let's get this. This is kind of important. I guess, technically, we could have done something else, but that's okay. We're going to add Bird Call. Bird Call is going to search out one of our last one, which is this. We're going to add it to our hand, and then we get a special summon one with a different name. So we're going to summon out the searcher here. Use this effect. Doesn't really matter. We're going to add Warbler, I guess, again. I think maybe I messed up. Alright, hold on. We still might be able to win. Let's just see. Alright, what do we got? What do we banish? Okay. 800. Can attack 4 times. Gonna detach this to summon out a level 1. I guess Mystic Piper. Good as any. This to summon this. Use Mystic Piper's effect. Okay. We can draw another card. There it is. Alright, we got this. Alright. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. This effect, we're going to target this. Now, we're going to activate our Bird Sanctuary. We're going to use the effect to draw a card. Next, we're going to attach all the materials of this one onto it, which is 2,000. And now we win the game. because this card can attack directly and can attack equal to the number of materials that it has, which is more than enough. We're gonna have ignore chain on. That way it kind of goes a little bit faster. And then we got one more attack. And there you go. That's the Lyrilusc's OTK. Now our opponent didn't really have anything to counteract it, but we're going to go to the our deck list. And keep in mind, I just kind of threw this deck together to test out, what the deck can do. So we're playing two Kinkabios. It's kind of like a Monster Reborn, or our Wolf Bark, if you know what that is. If you're an older player, Wolf Bark are references to cards that just special summon something out of the graveyard on summon. That's kind of what this is. Three of this, because it searches out our good spells here, which is Bird Call or Bird Sanctuary. Two copies of Big One Warrior. This is more of a filler card, but it is one of the better level ones that we have access to. It's either this or Jester Confit. I'm playing this because we do want some of our cards in the graveyard, and it can help with bigger plays. Three Evil Thorns, as you saw, it gets out of the deck and can help us go into rank 1s, because all our rank 1s are generic. Three copies of Warbler. Warbler is our best recovery card and can be a decent starter card depending on our hand. Three copies of Sapphire Swallow. As you saw, this is kind of our play extender. And with really set up the win. Barry Canal is is kind of like a finisher. It's a Monster Reborn for the deck. And yeah, it's just a good card overall. This is a Searcher. So it searches any level 1 winged beast when special summoned. No, I'm not playing it, but it can search out a copy of DD Crow if we were to play it. If we wanted to play DD Crow, we could easily cut Big Warrior 1 and then we would have more disruption, but I'm not playing it. This is more of a casual fun build for all of you to try out at home when we release these cards, or in general you can play it online. Provided that your opponent wants to allow OCG cards or pre-release cards, as this calls, because these cards aren't technically even out there. Three Mystic Piper. It's kind of like Piper. I like Mystic Piper and Kinkabiyo's synergy, because Kinkabiyo, you banish the monster it summons when Kinkabiyo leaves the field, but not when the monster itself leaves the field. So you can get back Mystic Piper and then tribute it to draw a card. There was a deck called Piper Chaos back in the day, and that's kind of where I got the inspiration to run these two cards. But yeah, Jester Confit could also fit here if you really wanted to play that instead of this. Jester Confit is just a free special summon, so I can kind of understand wanting to play that over this. I still think Kinkabiyo is a good enough card to run on its own, though. Next up, we have Instant Fusion to summon our one copy of Independent Nightingale. This card inflicts like 500 damage when you Instant Fusion out, and on top of that, what it allows you to do is it's a rank 1 that you can summon, or level 1 that you can summon. It's just an extra level 1, free level 1. 1 for 1, it summons out any of our monsters from the deck. It's pretty simple. Pot of Desires, we don't really care too much about what we banish. We're playing a lot of 3-ofs, so chances are we're not really going to be too punished with Pot of Desires. Same thing with Burkhall. Burkhall is just a searcher like Kobold, but this one also lets you special summon from the hand or send to the graveyard if we need to. So it can set up our Warbler if we need to special summon from the graveyard. It can also get Celeste Wagtail in the graveyard as well to attach it, because it has the effect of attaching while it's in the graveyard to an Lyrilusc Xyz monster you control. It also has an effect of, if it's special, you can add a spell or trap of the archetypes to thing. So overall, but yeah, this good card, just very, very good card. One of the best search cards in the game. Just because it does, not only does it add or send like the Amazoness one, but it also can special summon from hand too. Another search card for the deck is Where Art Thou? You have to control a level 1 and you take 2,000 if you didn't normal summon the added monster, or a monster with the same name. But that's okay. It doesn't matter if we're OTKing our opponent, that 2,000 is not going to matter. And even if we're not OTKing our opponent, we can usually survive with our finisher card, and I'll talk about that card when we get there. It's the card that I use to attack directly a million times. So yeah, this doesn't real. This is the downside doesn't really bother. The biggest downside about this card is having to control level 1. It's not just Rhoda. It is just a good card though for the deck. So definitely you should run 3 of it. Foolish Burial. We do want certain cards in our graveyard. It helps out a lot with some of our plays. Like, also helps with Sapphire Swallow, since when you use it as material for Wind XCs, you get to attach a Lyrilusc monster from your graveyard as the attached to the card. So Foolish Burial can help with that. Next up, this card is the main way to enable a lot of win conditions. So it has 2 effects, and you can activate each of them once per turn. The first effect is what we use to win the game, or get enough materials to win the game, which is you target 2 Winged Beast XCs you control, attach one of them, and all materials attached to it to the other as material. And then the second effect is if you control an XC's monster with 3 or more materials, you get to draw a card. So the first effect is what we're using to get enough materials to OTK. The second effect is a just in case we don't OTK, we kind of have some kind of backup on recovery, assuming we don't get OTK on the crackback. Next up, this is an instant fusion target with Lyrilusc Nightingale. That's all it is. It's just an instant fusion target. We're not fusion summoning it out. It is a very powerful card though, but we're not using it to its fullest potential in this deck. It's just the best instant fusion target, and it happens to be in our archetype. So yeah, this card is a third searcher for the deck. This deck has 3 ways to search out whatever monster you want. This also can also summon out DD Crow if you want it to. So that's why this card was played in Spirals, is to search out DD Crow for the mirror match. So if it's XC summon, you target a face-up monster on the field and gains 300 for each material. That's just kind of a bonus, but the second effect is the more important one, which is once per turn you can detach 1 material and add a level 1 Winged Beast monster from your deck to your hand. Once again, DD Crow is the best target. If you, for competitive Yu-Gi-Oh, if you're just having like a level 1 engine and you're playing this, you should be searching DD Crow with it. In this deck, it is a flex pick. It lets us pick literally any of our Lyriluscs, so it's really, really good. And its second effect is all battle damage you take from battles involving this XC summon card are also inflicted to your opponent. So you give the boost to one of your other monsters, and you can crash in, deal a bunch of damage, and finish it off. If you do that, if you don't have enough to OTK with your assembled Nightingale. So next up is Prom Thrush. It gains 500 for each, and it shuffles in a spell or trap. It also gives attack to a battling monster you control by detaching any number of materials until the end of the turn. With Nightingale, what that means, or Assembled Nightingale, what that means is that you get to attack an extra. It kind of gives you more damage to help finish out with our win condition. It also can shuffle in spells and trap cards, which are very important. There are certain matchups where that's going to come in handy. If you ever run into a Necro Valley deck, that's going to come in handy. And I know Necro Valley isn't the most prominent deck in the meta, but Necro Valley does have its place. Some decks will run it, and it's just as a control. Also, if I would say Mystic Mind, but Mystic Mind, if you're not going to be able to activate an effect against Mystic Mind. Alright, next up for a win condition. So This card is our win condition. It gains 200 attack for each material. While it has Xyz material, it can attack up to the number, or each battle phase up to the number of Xyz attached to it. So, as you saw, we would manage to get up to 2,000 attack and attack like, what was it? We had the ability to attack up to 7 times, I believe. So yeah, that's the good thing. The not worrying about getting OTK back is its second effect is once per turn during either player's turn you can detach an Xyz material. Until the end of this turn, Lyrilusc monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects, and you take no battle damage this turn in general. So what that means is that you can detach and you can basically save your monsters and your life from getting OTK'd in case you come up short. Now, it's a you're wondering, you're probably saying, oh, but you know they could just spin this back. Sure, if they can target it, which a lot of the time you're not going to be able to, and I'll go into a reason why in a second. Uh, you can still detach in response, and then you still can't take the battle damage, and the rest of your monsters stay free. But they're not going to be able to target it most of the time because you're going to want to use Cobalt Sparrow as material, because if it's used as material, the Xyz monster, assuming it was a wind, which Assembled Nightingale is, won't be able to be targeted by card effects, and that works even if you detach the Cobalt Sparrow. So, yeah, most of the time this card's not going to be able to be targeted or destroyed by battle or card effects when you use its ability. So that's why it's a very good card. It's gonna push you for OTK, and if you fail to OTK, maybe you just couldn't get your Bird Sanctuary, because that's usually what pushes you to the point of being able to OTK with the deck. You can, it'll save you. Next up, if we're forced to go first, we have a few options. First up, Ensemble Robin. It's 2 or more level 1 monsters, and it gains 500 attack for each material on it. Once again, with Cobalt Sparrow, it also won't be able to be targeted. You can detach a material from this card, then target. If your opponent special summons a monster or monsters, except during the damage steps, you can detach a material, then target a monster, return it to the hand. So that's not a hard once per turn. You can keep doing that as long as this card has materials. You can keep bouncing every single thing that they special summon back out that, can be targeted. That's a very powerful effect. So if we're forced to go first, that's our plan. And then if they do manage to get rid of it, we get a Lyrilusc monster from our graveyard to our hand as a consolation prize. Now, the idea of what you do with this card is you're going to want to get out Assembled Nightingale and Ensemble Robin. And you're going to want Ensemble Robin to have the more materials, because your Nightingale, which you're playing 3 copies of instead of 2, as this card is, because this card is more of a, hey, I'm forced to go first card. So you're going to want this to have more material if you're forced to go first, and Nightingale is going to be there to strictly protect your Ensemble Robin from being destroyed by battle, card effects, and stuff like that if they brought in, if they forced us to go first and they brought in like stuff like Raigeki. So that's what you're going to want to do. Next up is Mech Knight Avermax. This is just in here. Realistically, this should probably be Boral Sword Dragon. And I say that because we're not going to be using our extra deck enough to summon it. Like I said, I just kind of threw monsters I liked in. The last 4 don't matter as much. Saryuja is also one that doesn't matter as much. It's just kind of in here because it's a good card. Overall, though, you should probably play something like, I don't know, something maybe like Boral Load or Boral Sword again. Or if you have it, Access Code Talker is a good OTK card as well that you can go into, as this deck can throw out a lot of monsters pretty easily from, as you saw from our game. So next up is a good card for going first as well. If you, for some reason, aren't going to do the plan I said, this is also a decent card. Or if you can make this and those 2, even if this only has 2 material, and you can make this this and this, you're in a really good spot because Apapalooza lets you negate a bunch of monster effects along the way. And yeah, overall good card. Next up, last is Lyrilusc, and Lyrilusc is in here just because um, we don't want any unnecessary level ones. We're not going to really have that. We don't have that issue too much since we can since all of our rank ones say 2 or more level ones. We can just kind of throw in the last copy. But Lyrilusc also helps us prevent to get OTK'd if for some reason our assembled Nightingale goes away. Uh, but yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed this Lyrilusc deck and the display of it. If it's your birthday today, happy birthday. If you want to send me any cool deck profiles or replays, email's in the description. You can show me any upgrades you think that you could make to it in by sending me a replay. Love to see them. And of course, and as always, have a wonderful day.